What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. In today's video, I'm really excited here to talk to you guys about these statistics that I've been pulling together for the past 48 hours or so. Wanted to give a huge shout out to my UNG cluster here for providing a lot of the information here to allow for some interesting discussion in this video. So what am I talking about? So if you guys aren't aware, there is a new kind of RAID 2024 statistics landing page here. It does give you some general stats here about the players and the games and preferences and stuff like that. It's very generic, but it does pose a little bit of interesting statistics for sure. So for example, 18 players in Platinum Arena have won all the trophies in the whole year. So of these 18 players, they're basically just moving the trophies around. It's pretty interesting. But what is the most interesting part about this landing page and this little piece of content that they gave us is that there is a personal statistic that make sure you guys check it out if you guys are interested at all. But in the personal one, you guys can enter your UMID and it gives you guys some access to some more personal stats. So basically your arena wins, it gives you some dungeon clears, total artifacts obtained, and of course the legendaries pulled in the year 2024. So what I did this year was basically compile a bunch of statistics from a bunch of different accounts, including some content creators, and we're going to have a little bit of a discussion here about it. I did this back in 2023 when the statistics were a lot more detailed, and it gave a better idea of how strong certain accounts were. It was also lifetime stats as opposed to just 1 year stats. So in this case, this is only going to be 1 year stat for 2024. But either way, it does pose an interesting discussion topic here. So we're going to dive right into it. All right, so here it is. So this spreadsheet, obviously huge thanks to my UNG cluster mates for basically volunteering their data and their time. They entered every one of their pieces of data into here so that I don't have to. So that's a huge thanks to them. So thank you guys so much for participating in that. We do have a list of content creators here. So thank you guys so much, of course, uploading your data into videos. That's where I got these data points from. I'll provide links to all their channels in the description below. Make sure you guys check them all out. Of course, we know most of them, right? If not all of them. We got shout out to Erroneous, Briggs, Chazup, Grim Reaper, Hell Hades, Kenpachi, Nupkex, and Palamos. But here I compiled all their data so that we can actually have some discussion about everything here and show you guys maybe, we can learn from statistics, right? Maybe some people, they do things differently. Maybe they can have better success in some areas and maybe we can see what works, what doesn't work, and just gauge general activity for everybody's account. So without further ado, here we go. In the first couple of lines, we have some arena, participation, arena wins and all that. We see Arvindal here with 15,000 classic arena wins. I'm finished my Great Hall, so I don't really go too hard on it, but we still need Magi Steel in arena. So of course you still need to participate if you want to do forging and crafting. If you don't do forging and crafting, then you're going to be pretty hurting for silver, I think. Also, they provide some pretty good CVC points. And of course, if you're just active in the game, you're going to have a lot of these kind of free token usages, right? Because they give you free resources. Up next, we have Tag Team Arena here. We got Kenpachi here, super Tag Team Arena participant. Doing almost 11,000 battles in tag team. Tag team arena is really good for CVC points. It's very efficient for gem usage. So I could see Kenpachi doing a lot of fights there just for points. The highlighted green figures or values will be the highest in that column. So we see Kenpachi here out of basically 50 participants. He is the highest in terms of tag team participation, which is really cool. And then moving on, we got live arena as well. Kenpachi, lots of live arena battles here. We got Noda here with 1,800 live arena battles. Very wide range of participation in live arena. Some barely doing it, some doing a lot of it. But yeah, overall, it's still pretty interesting to see. After the the arena participation, we have dungeon participation. Now, I did get some clarification on some of the statistics here, and they did not include the event dungeon. So the event dungeon was not included as a category. They probably should have left it somewhere, but they didn't. So we have the normal dungeons. We have Dragon, Ice Golem, Fire Knight, and Spider. And then we have Sand Devil and Shogun as well. Now, I made a column here basically saying energy spent. And this is just going to be a simple formula that adds up all the dungeons and multiplies everything by 20 energy, giving you an estimate on energy spent. Of course, energy spent's not going to have, the full capture of everything because it doesn't capture the event dungeon, for example. So what is interesting about these dungeon participation numbers is that you can kind of see that dragon definitely falls off quite a bit. And then you see more emphasis on like Fire Knight. You see a lot of emphasis on Spider. You see a lot of emphasis on Sand Devil. But yeah, overall dragon, you don't see dragon being the highest participation out of all the dungeons, especially for more end game players. I will provide a link to this spreadsheet in the description below. Just make a copy of it, and then you guys can add your own numbers or manipulate the spreadsheet however you want to see some statistics on people. All right, so both my accounts are here. This one is my content creator account, so I get my content creator perks on this one, and then this one is my fully free to play account with no content creator perks. Of course, both accounts are fully free to play, but one gets content creators, but also one gets all my attention. So you kind of see where the differences lie, right? So on my main account, which is Boozilla, I spend quite a bit more time doing additional stuff that I don't do on my alt account. So for example, farming Sand Devil, doing live arena, for example, doing Shogun, and it all kind of works out to, yeah, this much energy discrepancy, about 100,000 energy discrepancy between the two accounts. But it's pretty interesting to see the comparison between the two accounts. You can kind of tell it's just one is just way more active, right? You get way more obtained artifacts as well on my main account. And this is an interesting statistic here because this statistic doesn't actually capture the forge. So I did ask for some clarification from Plarium, and they said the forge was not calculated into this artifact obtained statistic. So this artifact obtained statistic is actually from all areas of the game where you can pick up rewards, gear as rewards. So, you know, chests, whatever chests, Cursed City, obviously, all that stuff. Anything that gives you gear is going to be an artifacts obtained. So actually my main account actually has a very high amount of artifact obtained, which means, you know, it's obviously very active in the game, which is true. I'm very active in this game, right? And I basically pick up all the free gear available to me. So if you filter this by, for example, highest to lowest, I'm actually second highest in terms of artifacts obtained. And for my account, I think that's pretty good. And moving on to artifacts sold. So Plarium did confirm that artifacts sold is basically just selling your artifacts from anywhere. It includes multi-battles, includes automatic sales. There is some discrepancy in some of the numbers. It's kind of hard to explain. The way they framed it was that some accounts might have gear, you know, hanging around in like inboxes or whatever, or on their account, and they sold it. So maybe that makes up for it. I'm not too sure. Personally, I think some of these statistics, they could be wrong. They feel kind of wrong in some spots, but for the sake of consistency, we're just going to assume they're close to right anyways. For the most part, it feels mostly right. There are some outliers here. Make sure we'll go over that in a second here. But you can kind of see here, right, who are like incredibly active in the game. So obviously we got Fumbles. He's leading the categories in terms of green, in terms of all dungeon farming, energy spent, obtained, and the artifacts sold. So very, very active in this game. And then you have people that are way less active in the game. I also have a category here for, you know, approximate spending for people. I let people fill this out themselves, so I wasn't too sure that, you know, we don't need like exact numbers, just whether they spent or not spent. So you guys can take a look at everything here yourselves. The biggest thing here, you know, the direct correlation is basically spending money and getting champions. So Legos obtained. So Legos obtained can be anything from a shard. That's what Plarium said. Now, does that mean, you know, free login champions count as Legos obtained? They didn't really clarify. Now, here's a little bit of an outlier here. So obviously with Inferno, we see 339 Legos. I think this must be a statistical mistake because, you know, he went very diligently and then calculated all his costs. He said he spent about $10,000 to get 339 Legos. I think that's pretty out there in terms of pull rates. So I can only assume that this is probably wrong. Everybody else seems kind of in line with, you know, spending habits and all that stuff. But obviously, you know, Legos obtain is direct correlation with spending money. So for me, my account, I got 55, which I think is quite high for, you know, basically not buying any shards. You can see basically my alt here has got 46. So, you know, a little bit under RNG. I also conserve shards a little bit more on my alt just because there's less things for me to chase on it. So playstyles are a little bit different. I'm chasing a little bit more on my main account, so maybe that's obtaining a little bit more Legos over the year. But you can kind of see like what people are getting relatively, and like I said, it directly correlates to how much money they spent. Now, the last statistic here we have is gem mine. Now, this is actually very interesting because I lead this statistical category with my main account, 5508. I've yet to see somebody with a higher gem mine number than myself. I mean, if you got a higher number, let me know in the comments below. But it basically just means I don't really miss collecting gems on my main account, like almost ever. So this kind of just means login activity, right? How often I log into the game. And I mean, if there was a measure of free-to-play OCD-ness, it's probably this gem mine statistic here, which I thought was kind of interesting and amusing here. But yeah, overall, I think a lot of people obviously are very, very active in the game, you know, collecting their gems and so forth. Because the gem mine takes, I believe, 24 hours to hit capacity. So as long as you log in within 24 hours, you should be able to continually get more and more gems. So for my account, it looks like I never missed a day logging in. The other interesting statistic here actually is the Lego obtained. So the Lego obtained, they said it's going to be Legos gotten from shards. So prism shards would be in that category as well. And yeah, so for 2024, I got 55 and then 46 on my alt account. Again, I think this is still slightly higher than what most people get. But I think it's due to my overall activity in the game. Even my alt account has fairly decent, dungeon participation, energy expenditure. So overall, it just feels like, obviously I'm just very active in the game. And yeah, you can kind of see like here, we got Spider Dungeon. It's by far the most done dungeon here. We got 10,000 here by Gatho. We got Precise here with almost 8,500. We got 8,500 here by Grim. Obviously, still one of the main sources for silver for a lot of people as well. Also, with statistics, it gives you a little bit of a deeper understanding of how players have what they have or how players do what they do. So, for example, endgame players that are super active in the game would probably obtain more gear. They would sell more gear. They would do more dungeons. They would spend more energy. That just kind of shows your overall activity. And then as a result of all that, you probably get more Legos as well. So I do get the question a lot where people say, oh, how do you do this? How do you do this? How do you get this? Well, basically it's like you just have to play the game and you have to do all avenues of the game to get more stuff, or you spend money. That's about it. So money can, obviously give you access to everything in this game. Just depends how much money you want to put into the game, right? But yeah, it's pretty cool to have these statistics. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Maybe you guys can put yourselves into the spreadsheet. Like I said, I will be putting the link in the description below. You guys just make a copy and you guys use it as you will. But you guys put yourself in there and compare it against, your favorite content creators and so forth. I have the content creators up there in blue. Let me know in the comments below how you guys think about all this. What kind of deductions do you guys make from some of this data here? How do you guys compare to some of these players here as well? Looks like my conditional formatting is a little bit off, but anyways, you guys get the picture. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching until the end. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.